Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Middleware Technologies. Today we'll be looking at how to use secure shell tools for secure client-server communication. Okay, so before going into the details of the secure communication using the SSH tools, let us try to understand what is SSH. Okay, so as you can see, like I have laid down the 3 points which are important to understand what is SSH. Okay, so SSH is a protocol that is used for managing a remote server through a secure communication channel. Okay, so it is the SSH protocol works based on the public key cryptography technique. Okay, so this public key cryptographic technique is used for securing the communication between the client and server parties using the SSH protocol. Okay, so it also provides the mechanism for authenticating the user. So basically a user with which we try to log in remotely onto the server, that user's authentication is also carried out using this protocol. So these are the 3 important things that you need to keep in mind, like based on what SSH is. Okay, now let us try to understand what is OpenSSH. Okay, so OpenSSH is basically an implementation of the SSH protocol. It is an open source version of the SSH protocol implementation. Okay, so currently the version that is utilized on the servers is SSH version 2, OpenSSH version 2. So there is another version of SSH, that is OpenSSH version 1, which is actually which is not right now used because it is insecure, and in order to replace that and build a secure version of OpenSSH, the OpenSSH version 2 is implemented right now. Okay, and also like OpenSSH, SSH, basically which is a protocol, is replacing the insecure implementations like rlogin or RSH. Okay, RSH. Now let us try to understand what are the different encryption technologies that are available or that are used in the SSH protocol communication. Okay, so there are 3 encryption technologies that are used: symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption, and hashing. Okay, so these 3 encryption technologies are used at different layers of communication in the SSH protocol. So if we try to get into the details of it, it basically uses symmetric encryption for data communication. Basically, like whatever messages that we send from the client to the server, it uses symmetric encryption key for encrypting the data. So basically in symmetric encryption there is only one shared key between the client and server, which is used for encrypting, and the same key is used for decryption. But the way the symmetric encryption key is shared is based on the key exchange algorithm that is used by SSH, and that algorithm decides like how the symmetric encryption key is being shared between the client and server. So this whole thing of sharing the encryption key and generating the symmetric encryption key is carried out in the background for you when you try to do a secure communication with when you try to establish a secure channel with the server. Okay, now coming to the asymmetric key. Asymmetric key is where 2 different set of keys are generated, which is called public and private key, and these keys are used to actually share the secret key, which is basically a symmetric encryption key between client and server. Okay, so asymmetric encryption key is also shared using the different kind of algorithm, like the key encryption algorithm. Okay, so this is how like the SSH protocol uses the symmetric encryption key and asymmetric encryption key in order to establish a secure channel between the client and server. And now coming to the hashing. So hashing is basically a way to generate a string, a long string based on a file or a particular string. Like it basically converts a plain text string or a file into a hash, a long hash value, which is only a one way of doing. Basically, you can generate an hash value from an input, but you cannot generate an input from a hash value. Okay, so once that hash value is shared, once that hash value is generated, it is shared with the other party, and based on that hash value, it is decided whether the data that is carried along with that hash value is tampered or not. So let's say, like, if the data is tampered, if the other party, like this, trying to generate the hash value from that the input or the file, the hashing value will vary, or it will not match with the hash value that was generated on the source party. Okay, so these are the encryption technologies that are basically used in the background for SSH protocol communication. Okay, now let us try to understand what are the different stages or the steps carried out for SSH communication. Okay, so basically when a client tries to communicate with the server, these are the different steps that are carried out in the background for establishing a secure channel. Okay, the first thing is it will carry out a TCP connection establishment, wherein it will try to do a negotiation of different things like version, algorithm, or the key exchange algorithm that are going to be used between the client and the server parties. Okay, once these algorithm and the key exchange, the keys that are going to be used and the algorithm that are going to be used between the client and server are negotiated, these keys are exchanged using the different algorithm, and they are used for establishing a secure communication channel, secure communication between client and server. And also, like the SSH protocol carries out user authentication. Basically, it tries to identify whether the user who is trying to communicate with the server is the one who is holding his private key and is the authentic user. Okay, so once these things are clarified or verified, session is basically generated or established between the client and server. Okay, now let us try to understand a bit more about the client authentication. Okay, so as I said, like, we are using SSH protocol between client and server for a secure communication. Okay, so both parties, like the client and the server, will have their own set of public and private keys. Okay, so in this case, like, we are trying to understand about the client authentication. So, like, I have shown you about the server. So I have shown you this client who holds the public key and the private key. Okay, so this public key is basically copied onto the server. Okay, using SSH copy ID. Okay, so this is basically used by the server in order to encrypt the message. Okay, so let's say, like, the server is sending a message like hello client, so it is going to encrypt that message using the public key of the user. Okay, and that encrypted message is sent along the channel, and on the client side, the client is going to use his own private key, which is basically a pair of the public key that is shared with the server, and it will try to decrypt the message. So once that message is decrypted, like the hello client, this message, decrypted message, is sent along to the server. So the server verifies that the message that it has sent to the client is actually this message which it decrypted. So it assures that the client is the actual client that is communicating with this server. So the client is authenticated. So this is how like the client authentication works. Now let us try to understand about the SSH communication. Okay, so here like we have both the parties the same, the client and server, but we will try to understand about the server holding the public and private key, and how the server establishes that it is this server that is authentic with which the client is communicating. Okay, so now the server which holds its public and private key, it shares its public key, that is this key, with the client. Okay, now the client whenever it is trying to send a message to the server, like it will be encrypting its message using the public key of the server. Okay, so the server sends a message like say hello server. It will encrypt this message using the public key of the server, and this encrypted message is sent to the server. The server is going to decrypt it using this private key which it holds. Okay, so once the message is decrypted successfully, it means that the message is actually received from the server. Okay, so this is how the SSH communication happens between the client and server parties. Now let us try to understand about the different secure shell tools or protocols that are provided by OpenSSH. Okay, so there are three important utilities tools that we use for having a secure communication between the client and server. The first one is SSH, which is used for remote administration of the server. So this protocol is basically used to get a remote access to the server and manage it remotely from a remote client. Okay, the second one is SCP tool. SCP is basically secure copy utility that is used for securely like copying files from the client machine to the server machine. Okay, so it basically happens on the secure channel. So in this case, like the SCP, like we can use it as a backup tool, which basically copies all the data from the client to the server, or we can do a reverse copy also, like basically like fetching the data from the server to the local or the backup server in a recursive fashion, also using the -r option. But the only thing with the SCP is it does not maintain the attributes of the files that it is copying. So basically the permissions, the date and time of the files that got generated on the server, and if there are any semblance with the files on the server, those are not maintained when you do SCP from the server to the client and using it as a backup tool. Okay, so for that purpose, like there is a different tool called rsync, which we can use to do secure backup of the data from the server to the client, and also maintain the attributes. Okay, now coming to the third, the protocol, that is SFTP. So in case of SFTP, it is a secure file transfer protocol that we can use, but this is basically used if you don't know which files you want to copy from the client to server, from the server to client. So in that case, like you will SFTP onto the server and you will try to navigate that server and identify the file that you want to like fetch, and you need to and you will be able to fetch that file from that interactive session that you established with the SFTP protocol. Now let us try to do some practice and try to understand about the SSH protocol by logging into a server. Okay, now let us try to understand about the SSH protocol in detail using the practicals that we can carry out on a virtual machine. Okay, so now I'm going to use my virtual machine, that is going to be acting as an SSH server. So let me start my virtual machine, that is Fedress, and try to log in onto that server using the SSH protocol. Okay, so now you can see like I'm trying to log in with the SSH protocol onto the Fedress server, that is a remote server with SSH service up and running on that one, and I'm logging in with the admin user. Okay, now let me try to log in into that server. So now you can see like I am able to log into that server remotely without actually sharing any password with that. Okay, so basically how it is happening is I am using SSH based on public key public key authentication, public private key authentication, that is like I've already shared the public key of my client with the server. Okay, so let us try to understand in detail about what exactly is happening over here. So on the server, so let us try to understand what exactly needs to be available on the server. So on the server, like you need to have these three packages installed on your server for your server to act as an OpenSSH server. Okay, so once that these packages are installed, you need to ensure that the following service is up and running on the server. Okay, so now you need to ensure that this service is up and running on the server where the following packages are installed. So basically, whenever you try to install OpenSSH server package, it will install the client and the other dependent packages automatically on the server. Okay, so these are the two things that you need to make sure that your server is having, that is the required packages are installed and the service is up and running. So you can just start the service using sudo systemctl start if it is not already up and running, and you can enable it on the reboot. So basically whenever server is rebooting, it will ensure that this service is up and running. Okay, so on Fedora, like I'm currently on Fedora 39 server. This server, basically the Fedora server, basically comes with the SSH daemon already up and running with the OpenSSH packages already installed. Okay, so once the the service is up and running, you will be able to SSH onto this server as I have shown you here. Like we can SSH onto that server using the SSH protocol. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to show you is how I am able to like SSH onto this server without providing any password for the user. Okay, so here we are using the key based authentication wherein first like we basically generate the on the client machine. So here I'm on the client machine. We need to generate SSH keygen, and it will generate a set of key pair for you. Okay, so this key pairs will be generated on your home directory in the .ssh folder. Like you will be able to see these uh, these two keys. Okay, so you will be able to see these two keys, id underscore rsa and id underscore rsa pub. So this id underscore rsa is the private key based on the rsa key algorithm, and this is going to be our public key based on the RSA key algorithm. Okay, and this public key is the one that we are going to share it with the server using the SSH copy ID, and we need to mention the public key, and we need to mention the server onto which we are going to copy that ID. So once that ID is copied, so it basically gets into the server. So right now, like I'm onto the server. So if you look at the home directory, .ssh and go to the authorized keys, like you will see the public key is copied onto the server. Okay, so now like you have understood like how the SSH service is installed, and it is like started up on a server, and how we are able to SSH onto a server with using the public key cryptography technology. Okay, so that is how the secure communication happens between the client and server using the SSH protocol. Now let me disconnect from my session. So let us try to understand now about the another tool, that is SCP. So SCP is basically used for a secure copy of files. So let me try to do take a copy of the file that is available on server, like etc Red Hat release, and copy it into my local machine into the temp directory, and let me copy it into the file like fedres release. So it is basically going to, so I'm passing the -r option. It is like optional, like it basically carries out a recursive copy of all the files in the directory. If let's say this Red Hat release is a directory, but here in this case it is a file, so that option is is not used over here, but it is also but it doesn't hurt like if you are going to use that option. Okay, now let me run this, and we will see that the file has been copied onto my local or the client machine into the temp directory. So here is the file that is copied, and if you see at the content of this file, it is going to be the Fedora 39 release version. Okay, so we have copied the file from the server onto the client machine using the SCP protocol, which is a secure copy protocol. But the only thing is, this file that we have copied, like it does not maintain the timestamp. So you can see the timestamp, it is the current date with current time, and it is owned with admin, that is the user with which I try to copy it from the server machine. Okay, so this SAP tool does not maintain the file attributes when we copy the file from the client to server or the server to client. Okay, but it can be used for just getting the files from the server in a secure manner. Okay, now let us try to understand about the another tool that is SFTP. Okay, so for SFTP, like we will use the SFTP utility and try to SFTP onto the server, that is Fedress. Now you will get an interactive session with SFTP when you try to do SFTP access to the server. Okay, now you will be able to navigate to the server. Now you will be able to navigate onto the server and you will be able to fetch the files whichever you want to fetch it. Okay, so this file is fetched. Now if you go into C, this file is fetched onto the local machine or the client machine in the directory from where the SFTP protocol has been used to establish a connection with the server. Okay, so this is how you can use the SFTP protocol in order to securely do a file transfer from the client to the server or from the server to the client. You basically you can download the files from the server or upload the files to the server. So this is all I wanted to show you in this video, like how we can install the SSH utilities and how we can start up the services for SSH communication on the server, and we have looked at the three important tools of the SSH utilities, that is SSH, SFTP and SCP. Thank you all. Thanks for watching this video and you guys have a great day.